Thursday afternoon chat. Your favorite artists with Jayar.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, will you please put your paws together unless you're driving for my dear friend Natalie Grant.
Yes, please keep your hand on the wheel.
Yes, we don't want to get those emails. But
No,
it is a big day tomorrow. New album from Natalie Grant out tomorrow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tonight at midnight.
Thank you. That's right.
Yes.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
You know, I've been doing this, oh gosh, 20-ish, like almost 21 years now.
Yes.
And I usually will go a ways between, I've never been the person that can just quickly, I look at those artists that do like every 18 months they have a new record coming out, and I'm in awe of them because I can't be creative that fast. I can't write that fast. I need stuff to happen in my life so I can write about it.
Yeah.
And I need time for that. But so it's usually like 2.5 years or so between records. But this is like almost 5. So
yeah. Mark Hall, Casting Crowns, once said, he said, when I get done putting out an album the day it comes out, he's like, that's all I had.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it, guys.
Yeah.
The Lord has spoken and he's quiet now.
Yeah, almost like.
Be quiet for a minute.
There won't be, I got nothing else that I am. It's
No.
almost like it downloaded and it's done.
Although I don't even want to talk about it because he writes songs faster than anybody on the planet, that guy. So I was like, I don't need your whole songwriting journal. Can I just have like 3 pages from it?
Maybe he was tossing me false humility. Is that what he was doing?
Come on, Mark Hall. You write songs faster than anybody I know. Anyway, but I get what he's saying.
As you said, you've been doing this a long time, thousands of nights on the road. When I toss out this one sentence, what's the first thing to pop into your head? What was the greatest night on the road for you in your career?
Oh!
Look, we didn't get dressed up for nothing.
20 years. I can't just pull one out. I've had some really great nights. Yeah. I don't know that I can pick just one. That's almost impossible because I've had seasons where it's like, okay, that would have been the best one. And then I feel super blessed about the fact that I can say, then another season came and I had another great one. So one was after I finished, I got to headline Carnegie Hall, and that was a bucket list of mine as a kid just because I love New York City. And I love really historic venues. And so the idea that I was going to get to go to this historic place in New York, like my favorite city and one of my favorite like venues, and then to have like my face on the marquee. I remember feeling like my whole family was out like taking selfies with it, and they all flew in from Seattle for the show. And so my whole family was there for it. And that was a really special night. But I also got to perform at the White House a few years ago, and that was a pretty, like, my husband played on like Franklin Roosevelt's piano. And wow. like you know what I mean, you're like, oh, this is a life moment that you'll tell your grandkids about. So I've had some pretty cool, awesome moments. They shut down Times Square, and I got to sing in the middle of Times Square for like 60,000 people. So I've had some really cool moments.
My fellow Seahawk fan is my guest today, Natalie Grant. I see you on social media places representing the Seahawks. Yes. For us. And so I appreciate that.
I'm training, like, my daughter Sadie is here with me. I've got 3 girls, but I've only got one of them here with me today. And I'm really training them as well. So if I go, Hawks. Yep. She knows exactly what to do.
Yeah. When to do it.
You know, there's the thing. It's like home team.
Yeah.
And
see, I'm a little different. My son has grown up around the Buccaneers in the Tampa Bay area, and I don't want him to be a Seahawks fan because I almost feel like that's mine.
Right.
And he has never lived in Seattle.
You have to have your own home team. Like, I have full respect, but don't come at me and tell me that the Dallas Cowboys are America's team, because they're not America's team. Because I'm American, and the Seahawks are my team. So I'm like, don't be telling me that but if you're from Dallas, beautiful. Love the Cowboys. Love the team that's like your home team, and then stick with them through thick or thin.
Yeah. Oh, I have a friend in Tampa that always, when I'm wearing a Seahawks, he's like, man, you've been here for 12 years. When are you going to convert? I'm like, why? I have memories as a little kid watching them lose for decades.
Watching them lose for decades. So when I'm now really, really proud of the fact that they have kind of been a winning team here and there, let us have our moment, people.
Yes, please. Because we've had the Mariners. So let us have this.
Let us have this.
Anyway, we're talking sports with Natalie Grant here at the Joy FM. Coming up, weather. And I've had some very special moments with you in the Joy FM's listening area, because we do a lot of stuff with Team Freedom. The country is sort of new to the trend. Yeah. It sounds horrible. The trend of caring to end human trafficking. But you're old school. Like, you were there, I think, before it was ever,
trendy.
Even
it's weird to say, but causes are trendy, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
like, non-believers are new to this. Christians maybe are a little more old school with trying to end human trafficking. Yeah. How would you view the progress between when you first started walking down the street in India, seeing a girl in a cage, to now seeing, let's end human trafficking?
Well, it's funny because I kind of had this moment at first where I actually was a little bit like annoyed that it was like trendy and everybody was jumping on the bandwagon, and it was like, oh, I'm in the fight. I'm like, you're not in the fight. And I found myself almost becoming a bit self-righteous about it. And the Lord like really convicted me. Like, first of all, who do you think you are? Like, if you tell everybody that there's millions of people in human trafficking, you want this cause to become a trend. You want people to jump on a bandwagon to end it. And it was almost kind of like this moment of get over yourself, Natalie. Because maybe you've been in the fight for a minute. That doesn't make you more special or that you're somehow doing harder work than everyone. It just means that God made you aware of it earlier, and that hopefully I've inspired people to jump on the bandwagon of bringing an end to it. And I think that once I had my like self-righteous moment and I got over myself, now I can really see the progress as such a beautiful thing because people are aware of it. Like every single one of us can play a part, and you're seeing that. You're seeing freedom on the rise. Evil is evil, and evil's on the rise, and evil will always be until the Lord comes and makes it all right for once and for all. But until that time, we just have to be vigilant to fight it. Yeah.
Is it weird that it all came from watching an episode of Law and Order?
I'm like, yep. When I say that, I sometimes feel like, okay, so I don't know if this is going to be like ridiculous sounding or if it's relatable, because thank you, Law and Order, for ripping your episodes from the headlines. Because of that, it's like, well, TV isn't all bad, just mostly bad.
Yeah, mostly bad, but not all bad.
That's right. Just mostly.
Let's talk Fortnite. I will tell you this, that I started in radio in a skyscraper in Seattle. Yeah. Kiss 106.1.
Yeah, come on.
Star 101.5.
Left Kiss.
Those were my first two. And so I had bosses that were just these pros. I mean, they were legends in the radio. And so that's where I started. And so I got this intro on-ramp to radio with just you got to be the best in the country or you're out of here. And so I followed that into Christian radio. It made me good at what I do because you had to get better quick. Yes. But that's why I was in radio, was for entertainment. It's my job. Totally. And I want to, and then all of a sudden I think it was a carrot that God was dangling, going, okay, I wouldn't be able to get you in if I dangled Christian. But 15 years later, I find that he has pursued me and used the entertainment side of my art to get me to a point where now I have a focus on ministry. Like, I want to be available to use all this back here to now use this microphone for his, not just for me. So as an artist that makes art, sells merch, people buy your albums, but at the same time, you know that you aren't here by accident or just to be some diva. Yeah. How do you balance art and ministry, and which one is the tougher of the two?
Well, they're all tough at different stages of life, but I find that I've always had a wrestle with the commerce side of Christian music, the business side. And it's always been a huge wrestle for me, not because I'm looking at other people, because I'm looking at myself. Like, wait, you're basically selling Jesus. You realize that? Like, you're selling him, like you're putting him on a t-shirt and you're profiting. And I always I come to this place at least every 18 months where I'm like, oh, and then I realize that the wrestle is actually okay. As long as you are in that space where you're like, check my heart, Lord. I want to make sure that there's, see if there be any wicked way in me, right? That's what the scripture says, like, create a clean heart in me. And then you realize, but still, I want the message of the gospel to go forward. And this is one of the ways that we can do it. It also is my job, and I've never lost the wonder that I get to do what would be my hobby. And I get to call it my full-time job. I feel so incredibly blessed. And so, yes, I love making music. I love writing music. I love the art of it. but I never got into, this field because I wanted to be a singer ever. I viewed myself as more of a truth teller, and that I was just going to use the gift that God gave me to tell the truth about who he is. And so the ministry side of it for me has always come a bit more naturally than the business side of it. And I look at other people who are such great entertainers, and I've always been a little bit envious of it. Like, man, if somebody would have said, hey, let's get you a performance coach and put dancing and dancers and choreograph the situation, I would have had to quit a long time ago because I would have embarrassed myself, because I would have broken bones by falling, first of all. I'm like, I can't do any of that. But I do feel like, the fact that I get to be a part of something that becomes an anchor in people's lives. And I feel like all of us, whether you're in radio or we all actually get to partner together with being a part of something that, music is great. I love the art of it. I love all of that. But the fact that we get to be a part of something that might help hold someone's marriage together, or might help deliver a person from suicidal thoughts, or might help just a person find their true identity in Christ, or it might just be something that is great quality entertainment for their kids. I mean, I think sometimes there's been a tendency in my 20 plus years in this industry to belittle Christian music. I hate that. It's actually like quite a hot button for me. Like, I will get up on my soapbox and I will you'll see something kind of, I don't want to call it rage, but you'll see something come up in me because I hate that feeling that people belittle Christian music like it's less than. Like the quality's a little less, or this is a little less. Nah, I find it the highest privilege to get to be a part of Christian music.
I will just say this. We may have to grease the archway of the door to get you out of here, because your head's going to swell right here. But the greatest vocalist in the history of faith-based music. Like, that's a crazy sentence, and there has been a lot of females that have sold gazillions of albums, but it is, I think if you were to ask just about anybody, you are the greatest voice in this. I think Danny Goki's quickly becoming the greatest male vocalist in the history of the format. But I would put the two, and it's funny you guys have toured together, because I said that to him.
We
I'm
toured
like,
together for Christmas.
I know you guys are being humble, but you could have called this the two greatest vocalists in the history of...
So, I'm not sure how that would go over.
But to you, who besides yourself, obviously you wouldn't say you, but who has the greatest voice in the history of faith-based music, vocalist?
Okay, so it's really funny. First of all, thank you. That is really kind. And I think part of it is, okay, so I know I can sing. So I'm not going to try to have false humility and be like, no, actually,
you're not Mark Hall.
I know I can. I am Mark Hall. I know I can sing. Like,
Just
I know
kidding,
it's a God-given gift, and I can sing. It's really funny, though, because I don't really know that I'm the greatest singer in faith-based music, but I think maybe one of my greatest gifts is actually communicating a song. And that ability to have passion and the way you communicate, actually, I think sometimes is what captures somebody to go, I'm in. I'm buying everything you're selling, because it's this passion and conviction that I do think I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm the most passionate singer that's ever, I don't know. But I feel like with the growth of social media, I think we don't even know the names of the greatest singers in faith-based music. Because just last night, I was literally showing my husband these two singers on Instagram that are becoming Insta-famous. And they were singing these hymns. And I was like, I would quit. If they walked into the room and sang, I'd be like, I'm done. So I do still think that the greatest singers in the world are in their local churches we've never heard of, not mega churches, not the Hillsongs and the Elevations, but the little churches that we've never heard of still have the greatest singers on the planet that are like just going in faithfully and serving their church every week.
No pay.
But if I had to pick one, it'd probably be CeCe Winans.
Oh, yeah.
So I was telling, I've had a lot of we have in Christian music, we have something called the Dove Awards, right? And to me, the greatest singer that's ever lived was Whitney Houston. Oh, yeah. She just, and again, did she have all the tricks? Was she even sometimes a little flat? Yeah, actually. Yeah. But she had passion and communicate. She could communicate a song and make you just go, I don't even care what you're singing about. I buy everything you're singing. Yeah. And I think because I tried to emulate her so much that I learned a lot of that passion from watching and listening to her growing up. But she showed up at the Dove Awards one year, and I will never forget it. I was like, I probably peed at least 5 drops. And I was like, oh my gosh, Whitney Houston's in the building. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Is Carmen here right now? I feel like Carmen's here. This is how our staff meetings go.
I think that sometimes we are basically the same person. But but then it was a duet with Cece, and I'm telling you that like Whitney was Whitney, but Cece opened her mouth, and Cece Winans in that moment sang Whitney Houston. She's like so good. She's still so good. That's the thing. Like if you hear her sing right now, that's the greats too, that they're not just good for a moment. And I think that we have too much of that in music. People are good for a moment. But you're like, where are the people that are still going to be here? I'm like, wait, I've been in it for 20 years and I still feel like I haven't been in it long. And I'm like, wait, I'm still here, like a couple decades later. And we need more of that. People who are like going to be in it for the long haul.
Right.
You know?
We're going to end with this moment. We brought a piano into the studio for all the tapings. And the theory is, we know not everybody can play piano. And I have no clue if Natalie Grant can play piano. But with everybody that's been coming in, we've had some people that, for King and Country, didn't play any piano at all. Yeah. And so we do something called tickling the ivories.
Where is Daddy when we need him?
You can't.
Where is my husband when we need him?
You cannot. And one of the rules is you can't can't use your Grammy Award-winning husband. That's one of the rules we had to throw in. But it's 30 seconds, whatever you want to do with your 30 in front of the keys.
Okay.
So
But can I use my first-year piano student 8-year-old daughter? Perfect.
Yay! Yay! Yay!
All right. So we are over at the piano, and this is going to be a first for us, where the artists, what's that called? Where you?
I'm going to play one note with her.
You pass, you divert,
I have passed the baton
delegate
to my baby daughter. First year piano student, Sadie.
Do you play piano?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Hey, I know where. Hold on. C. I know where C is.
Okay. Good. Sadie, it's 30 seconons on the clock for tickling the ivories.
Okay. No pressure, but you gotta go.
Whatever you want to
you
share.
got this, and I'm gonna play that note with you. Okay.
Hey.
We got the verse. Horse, open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Ha, ha, ha. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing in a sleigh song tonight.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Saints.
Well done.
Under pressure and everything. First year. Way to
Tickling
go.
the ivories with the Grants.
The Thursday Afternoon Chat. Your favorite artists with Jayar.